liver disease.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Which is interesting because how did you get from nothing to stage 3? It's not cancer, like stage 4 becomes cancer, but like, how did no one detect?
What is that? I don't even know really.
So it's just, I guess it's like a deterioration of your liver.
I'm sorry.
But he's been on like methotrexate, which is like a rheumatoid arthritis medicine for like 20 years. Like, I don't get how, because that's like a cancer drug.
Yeah.
I don't get how your doctor doesn't like check you if you're on, and he's my age. So like, if you've been on something for 20 years, how do you not check to see, because all these drugs have side effects.
Yeah.
How do you not check to see if something's being impacted?
Is
So
it,
like,
so it's not cancer though? It's some other
well,
kind
it
of-
could become cancer. It's like right on the precipice. Like they're doing a biopsy like shortly, but like when they're calling it stage 3 liver disease,
Mhm.
but I don't know.
I don't know
Like,
about that.
like how is it not level 2 or like
Yeah, I don't know.
it's
I'm sorry.
yeah, no, you just don't know. So
Yeah.
because it's not. I mean, Tina was reading up on that, and she's like, that's not something that has a long lifespan.
Yeah.
But you never know. I mean, it's
You never know.
yeah. I know perfectly well that you can't trust the diagnosis because
Yeah, you never know.
yeah.
Oh. Yeah, it's life.
Yeah. So for some bizarre reason, everyone's concerned about trick-or-treaters and about security here, which I didn't quite get. Like, we've never had an issue.
Concerned about now.
No, because the Catholic called me up and said, Adam was wondering if we could get security. I go, why? He goes, oh, for all the trick-or-treaters. I'm like, I don't think anybody, like they know, like the parents know this is a house of worship. No one's got to bring
Yeah.
it out. And usually they look for houses with decorations, and if you don't, then they skip you.
Yeah.
Like no one ever rings my bell.
Yeah, no one brings our
We don't have
Yeah.
decorations, and we don't put the light on. And then, so I don't understand why he was all.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Hmm.
It doesn't seem like there's that many kids out either.
Oh, there's a lot of kids.
Are there?
On the Esplanade,
really?
there's a lot of kids. The kids, the kids like dressing up and
No, I know.
candy.
I didn't see that many on the walk here, but
Oh no, if you were on the Esplanade, it
there are
took
a lot of
me.
kids.
Yeah, because you gotta go really slow. Yeah, they're all.
Oh, yeah, there's some people around.
They're all.
They're all right. Well, I'm sorry about your friend. I hope he's
Well,
okay.
we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. You never
It's funny because I found out this morning. I actually got up. I woke up at 4 o'clock this morning, and I was kind of awake. And I've been wanting to catch the guy that delivers the newspaper to give him a tip. And like every time I get up early and wait for him, for some reason I miss him, even though I'm up.
Yeah.
So today I caught him, so they would give him a little something.
What time does he come?
He comes at 5:30.
That's early.
Anyway, so my friend who's a teacher, his wife, texted me and told me this. So I didn't want to tell Tina because we went out for lunch today. We had like a date night, date lunch. We went to a really great restaurant in White Plains. I didn't want to ruin. So after we came home, I told her.
Yeah.
So she was talking to him, but it's
Yeah. Where'd you go to eat?
it's called the Red Horse Tavern.
Oh yeah.
It's really good. Like just like the atmosphere. It's got like really high ceilings and glass windows. So
nice.
and it was sunny at that time. So even though it was windy, the sun was kind of hitting us.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah.
And yeah, they have the food is. I had salmon, and they had like a little bit of like Brussels sprout leaves and beets, and almost like a green goddess dressing.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, you're a cook, so you really good.
That sounds really good.
Yeah, it was really good. It's restaurant week, so you get like a 3-course menu
Oh, it is.
for like $30,
Oh, I didn't know that.
which you're like you can't beat that.
Yeah, totally.
And they had a ginger, no, it was a chickpea and something soup, which was really good.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of that place.
Yeah, very good. Service was nice, everything was.
All right. Well, 14 or 46. I guess we should get the main
Sure.
part started. Might be light tonight. Although I know Darren and Claudia aren't coming.
I think Bob's in California.
We'll see.
Bob-
What's that?
I think Bob Goldman's in California,
Bob Goldman.
I think.
Bob Goldman's in India, I think.
Oh, is that one?
I think Bob and Sandra are in India.
Okay, well, maybe he's in California when I texted him.
Oh, really? Yeah, he's. I think they're in India. I know they were going shortly after the holiday. I think they're in India.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Lechu niranin al Adonai, Nariel and Zur Yishenu, Nekadem afanav betoda, Bizmiro Shana Akud Bedor Baumar Antoyelevavem Vem Lo Yanu Derachai Asher Nishbati Be'apim Yavon El Menuchati Shiru Ladonai Shir Chana Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz Shiru Ladonai Machu Shemo Masru Miyom Leyom Yeshuato Sapru Bagoyim Kevodo Bechol Amim Nivleotav Ki Gadol Adonai Umul Al Meon Norau Al Kol Elohim Hay Kol Elohim Ha'amim Elilim Ba'adonai Shamayim Asa Hod V'Hadar Nefanav Uzv'Tiferet V'Migdasho Avul Adonai Mishpechot Amim Avul Adonai Gavol Baos Avul Adonai Kevod Shemo Seu Mincha U'V'Chatzrotai Yishtachavu L'Adonai Behar HaKodesh Tilu Mipanav Kol Haaretz Imru V'Agoyim Adonai Malach Abdikon Devel Ba'al Nimod Yadin Amim V'Mesharim Yismechu Hashamayim V'Nagel Haaretz Yiramayam Olo Yalo Sada Hey Bechol Asher Bo Az Yiratenu Kol Hatzeya Lifnei Adonai Kiva Lishpot Haaretz Yishpot Evel V'Tzedek Ve'amim Ve'emunato Oale Adonai Sinura Shomer Nafshot Chasinab Me'ar Reshayim Yatzilem Or Zaru Ala Tzadik U'Lishrei Lev Simcha Simchu Tzadikim B'Adonai V'Odu L'Zecher Kodsho Milmo Shir Shir Chadash Lifnei Adonai Kiva Lishpot Haaretz Yishpot Tevel B'Tzedek Ve'amim V'Mesharim Adonai Malach Yirgezu Amim 19 or 53 Yosef Kubim Oz Melech Mishpat Atakona Mishpat Ramem Adonai Eloheinu Mishtachavu Le'ar Kodsho Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu, please rise mizmor leDavid. Havul Adonai v'Elim, Havul Adonai, Kavod v'Oz, Havul Adonai, Kevod Shemo Yishlach, Havul Adonai, V'Adrat Kodesh, Kol Adonai Alamayim, El HaKavod Irim Adonai, Alamayim Rabim, Kol Adonai, Ba'koach, Kol Adonai ve'anar, Kol Adonai shober arazim, v'yeshaber Adonai et arzei Lebanon, v'yarkidim kemo egel Lebanon, b'Sirion kemo v'nere'im, Kol Adonai kotzev labodesh, Kol Adonai yachil midbar, yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai oleh hayarova, yecheso v'yeharod, hu v'chalo, kulo omer kavod, Adonai lamavon yasham yeshem, Adonai melech haolam, Adonai oz le'amo yiten, Adonai yevarech et amo b'shalom. Anna bekoach gedulat yemincha katir serurat haberinat amcha, sagvenu tareinu nora. Anna bekoach gedulat yemincha, tatir serura, kaberinat rinat amecha, sagvenu tareinu nora. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, hishmianu elam yuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, l'shem u'tiferet v'letila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu b'nelcha, ki mekor haveracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof maaseh b'machshavat tchila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat שבט במקומך, והוא יחמול עליכם ללכה דודי, לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה, הנערים מעפר קומים, לבשי בגדי תפארתך-מי, על יד בן ישי בית הלחמי, קורבן אל נפשי גאלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה, התעוררי כי בהורך ומהורים, הורי שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה, לא תבושי ולא תגבי, מה תשכחי ומה תדמי, בך יחסו עניי עמי ונבנתה עיר על פילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה, והיו למשיסה שעושייך ורחקו כל מבלייך, יציץ עלייך אלוהייך ימצוס חתן על כלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה, ימין ושמאל תפרוצי ואת אדוני תריצי, על יד איש בן פרצי ונשמחה בן הקהילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה, בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצלה, תוך אמונה המסגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה. 23 or 59. You know. Od Yenuvun Beseva, Dishenim Verananim Yu, Lagin Giashar Adonai, Tsuri Velo Avlat Abo, Adonai Magilabesh. Edo Techem Numeod Leveit Chana Vakodesh, Adonai Leorech Yamim. This week we observe the Artzeiten of Alda de Senza, mother-in-law of Leonard Cooper and mother of Judy Cooper, Mabel Blumenthal, grandmother of Barry Goldenberg, Harold Rothberg, father of Peter Rothberg, Lawrence E. Levitz, husband of Helen Stevenson, Sherry Kaplan, sister of Gloria Horowitz, Hal Mitchell Fleischman, brother of Suzanne Weiss, Morton Almo, father of Steve Almo, Clara Barback, mother of Spencer Barback, Saul Silverman, cousin of Doris Pat Smith, and also Harriet Kalichman Pollock, Abraham Eisen, Jean Horowitz, and Rose Dykman, who are memorialized on our board. I'll also mention this past week the loss of Rabbi Alvin Cass, who was the head chaplain of the NYPD for like 60 years. I don't know if he was the head of it all that time, but he was an NYC chaplain for like 60 years and head chaplain for many, many, many years. And he died this past week at the age of 89. And he was a JTS rabbi. He was a conservative rabbi. And I didn't really know him. I met him once when he came to the seminary to speak to the rabbinical students at like a lunch and learn about his work. He had sort of a pretty unique career. He was also a congregational rabbi and served the NYPD for 6 decades. I'm sure he will be missed, and may his memory be the blessing, and the memories of all those whom we recall. In lieu of Mourner's Kaddish, we can include one of the Shirvei Amalot on page 250. Shir Amalot Esai Nayalari Me'ain Yavo Ezri Ezri Me'im Adonai Osei Shamayim V'Haaretz Al Yitein Lamod Raglecha Al Yanum Shomerecha Hine Lo Yanum Below Yishan Shomer Yisrael Adonai Shomrecha Adonai Tzilcha Al Yad Yeminecha Yom HaShemesh Lo Yakeka V'Yareach Balayla Adonai Yishmorcha Mikol Ra Yishmor Et Nafshecha Adonai Yishmor Tzedcha U'Voecha Me'ata V'Yad Olam. Good Shabbos, everyone. The Parsha is Lech Lecha this week, and one of the questions, timeless questions invited by the Parsha is why God chooses Avraham, because we don't really know anything about Avraham before this moment when God says, "Go forth from your land," and it's sort of a really big lacuna in the text, which has invited speculation for millennia. Most of the Midrashim suggest in one way or another that it wasn't entirely God choosing Avraham, that it was Avraham coming to some kind of theological awareness of God first. The most famous story is, we're losing folks, probably the most famous story, which I thought was in the Torah until I was like an adult, I think. Maybe not quite an adult, but like very old, is the story about Avraham smashing his father's idols, and you thought that too.
Yeah, Elise is taking a comparative religion class.
Yeah.
And she was like, what's the difference between Midrash and whatever? I gave that example because
Yeah.
I also thought it was in the Torah.
Yeah, I thought that was in the Torah for years, and I remember my dad told me that one. I don't know, and you know, he smashes the idols and tells his dad the big idol did it, and that's impossible, right? And so, also famous, though somewhat less famous, but also famous is actually, at least in the Midrash, Terach, Avram's father, does not respond so well to this whole episode, and he actually takes his son to Nimrod, who is kind of the local, at least as the Midrash imagines it, the local idolatrous king for punishment, basically. And immediately after this episode with the idols, Avraham, the Midrash records Avraham having this conversation with Nimrod, where Nimrod says, let's worship fire, and Avraham says, no, shouldn't we worship water, because the water will distinguish the fire, and then he says, okay, we'll worship water, and then Avraham says to Nimrod, shouldn't we worship the clouds, because the clouds carry the water, and then he says, okay, we'll do the clouds, and then Avram says, no, we should do the wind, because the wind blows the clouds, and then he says, okay, and then finally he says we should worship human beings, because human beings can withstand the wind. And at which point Nimrod gets fed up and he says, this is sophistry, basically, is what he says, and we're just going to go back to worshiping fire. And by the way, I'm going to throw you into this fiery cauldron, and if you survive, so the God that you worship should save you, basically. And Avram says, okay. And meanwhile, Avram's brother Nahor, who, obviously not Nahor, Haran, that's another brother, Haran, who we are told in the Torah dies before Terach dies. He predeceases his father. So the Midrash also imagines that Haran is there with dad and with brother Avram during this whole episode with Nimrod. And the Midrash imagines that Haran is thinking to himself, so we'll see how it goes. If Avram comes out okay, then I'll go with Avram's God, and if he gets cooked, then I'm gonna go with Nimrod. And so Avram, of course, goes into the furnace, and he comes out okay. And Haran says, okay, that makes my decision for me. And he says, I cast my lot with Avram. And Nimrod says, fine. And he throws him into the furnace, and he boils alive and dies. And so the Midrash answers. The Midrash is really answering two things: why God chose Avram, and why Haran died, predeceased his father. So it answers both of those questions. And it's a striking story. It's an interesting coda to the thing with the idols. And by the way, the Midrash imagines later that Terach kind of comes around, and he accepts monotheism later in life. But what was striking to me as I was thinking about these very famous midrashim this week is that, and Maimonides talks about this too, when he talks about sort of Abraham reasoning his way to sort of correct divine understanding, or sort of correct theological understanding, is that Abraham is so firm in his convictions that he's willing to jump into a boiling cauldron because he feels like he's figured something out and he feels like it's going to be okay. And I think it's kind of astounding, especially when sort of presented, against his brother, who really is kind of looking to see which way the wind blows, or anyway, doesn't have the courage of his convictions and gets consumed. And I think it's hard to have the courage of I think it's hard to consider ourselves competent to make really, really big ticket kind of judgments. But one of the core messages of the Torah is that we are. One of the messages, once we eat from the tree of knowledge, in the Torah's view, we really are competent to render judgments, and we're competent to make moral distinctions, and we're competent perhaps to understand something about divinity. And one of the ways that the Midrash tries to answer the question consistently of why God chose Avram is that he's a person who is presented in the Midrash, someone who thinks very deeply, and then based on his inquiry actually makes decisions and acts on them. And he does that sort of consistently through his life, not perfectly. I think he's not presented as behaving perfectly. But I think he's presented as being a person of great discernment and great courage. And I think that is a challenging, that is a wonderful ancestor to have. And it is it's a model that I think we can strive to live up to. Yeah.
So Abraham was supposed to sacrifice Isaac, correct?
Yeah, later on, yeah.
So then it would make sense if before that happened that he trusted God would save him and go into this cauldron. Then why would he doubt when God said to him, you have to sacrifice your son? He probably maybe thought, well, if God spared me,
yeah,
then God spare my son.
Yeah, some commentators do take it in that direction. I mean, and remember, of course, the whole business with the cauldron is sort of the rabbis imagining something about Avraham. And so, yes, the rabbis do. There are commentators who think that Avraham knew sort of the whole time that, that he's not going to have to go through with it. Yeah, that makes some sense midrashically. Yeah, that makes sense midrashically, I think, for sure. Whether that makes sense in the context of how the story is presented, I don't know. But I think that certainly makes sense midrashically. Yeah. I was going to say one other thing based on that, but now it escapes me. Yeah. Well, this is the first midrash I ever heard, I think. You too? I think so.
I was shocked there was on the stats, and I was like, wait, it's not in the Torah?
Yeah, I thought it was in the Torah until I was like 18, 19, and I took time, I don't think I ever checked. I remember my dad. The other one that I think I thought was in the Torah was the one about Moshe reaching for the jewels versus the coals. You know that one, of Pharaoh's worried that Pharaoh has a prophecy that one of the Israelites is going to rise up against him, and so Pharaoh's daughter, who's found Moshe, wants to keep this one. And so they devise a test whereby if he reaches for, they put up flaming coals and jewels, and if the baby Moshe reaches for the jewels to put them in his mouth, that means he's a bright kid, and you're going to have to kill him. But if he reaches for the coals, he's not, he's sort of dim, and we can keep him. And he's reaching, of course, for the jewels because he's a bright kid, but then an angel moves his hand, and he puts the coal in his mouth, which is why he has a speech impediment. And I thought that was in the Torah too. I remember my dad telling me that one too, as a kid. And I remember thinking about what it would feel like actually to put coals or jewels in my mouth. Like I remember having a very clear I don't know, but it's also not in the Torah. But it's good. All right, we're on page 28. Baruch Umavir yom umevi laila umavir ben yom uben laila Adonai tzavot shemo el chai v'kayam temir chaleinu leolam va'ed Baruch Adonai hamari v'aravim avaton beit Yisrael V'avatecha tasir mimenu leolamim Baruch Adonai ohev amo Yisrael El melech leman Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha v'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha Hayom ala levavecha v'shinantaham levanecha v'dibartamam v'shivtecha b'beitecha v'rechtecha b'derech uv'shavvecha uv'kumecha וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בעיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך Adonai Elechem Emed. Umalchuto beratzon kiblu aleihem Moshe v'nam b'nei Yisrael echanu shira v'simcha raba v'amiru chulam Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai Mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh norati lo sefer Malchut chara uvanecha bokeh yam nipnei Moshe Zeili anu v'amru Adonai imloch leolam v'ed v'ne'emar kivran ad Yaakov u'gal minchazek mimenu baruch Adonai gal Yisrael ashkim benu Adonai l'shalom v'amidenu malkeinu l'chaim Ushmor tzeitenu bo'enu l'chaim u'shalom et aviyad olam ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני, הבורא סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל, ועל ירושלים, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. איי 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 ביני ובין בני ישראל לא תהיה לעולם. איי איי כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. Page 35. Shalom bimromav, uyaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. We can make Kiddush on page 49 or 93. Does anyone want to make Kiddush? B'vakasha, go ahead.
Savrim.
L'chaim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher kishon b'mitzvotav v'ratzav anu, v'shabbat kodsho b'avav ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron l'maseh bereishit, ki hu yom techila l'mikre kodesh, zeker l'tzion mitzrayim, ki vanu bacharta, v'yatanu kidashta, mikol hamim, v'shabbat kodshecha, yavav ratzon, v'kaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-shabbat. ואנחנו קוראים משתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכים. ככתוב בתורה
Techanaim Loch Leolam Vaed Venemar Vehaya Adonai Lemelech Al Kol Haaretz Vayomahu Yeh Adonai Echad Ushemo Echad. In lieu of Kaddish again, we can learn a Mishnah in honor of all of the Artzeiten and all those who we lost. Again, the word Mishnah can be arranged Neshama, which means soul. It's on page 25. In some communities, I believe, mostly in Ashkenazi, historically Ashkenazi communities, there was a tradition of learning all of the second chapter of Masechet Shabbat in the Mishnah, which is about candlelighting, in every night actually, between Kabbalat Shabbat and Mariv, and the Sim Shalom preserves a little piece of that custom and quotes two of the Mishnayot. We can learn the second one. Shalosh divarim tzarich adam lomar betoch beito erev Shabbat. So you're supposed to say three things in your house on erev Shabbat. First, you say im chashecha, as it becomes dark. You should say isartem. Did you tithe the food? In other words, so we don't want to eat untithed food on Shabbat. Say, did you tithe the food? And then it says, Eravtem, have you prepared the Eruv so that you can carry in your courtyard if you want to go visit someone on Shabbat and take them something to eat, which is a nice thing to do if you visit. And then it says, Hadliku et haner. So, okay, light the candle and it's time for Shabbat. Yeah, I don't know what I want to say about it. I remember earlier on in my life, I still start Shabbat by 18 minutes before Shabbat, but I remember when I was first getting firm or first becoming more observant, I remember it was like it was like a finish line or something. Like it felt very, very real. And then I remember like going through in my head, like right before, like 4:17, or okay, did I do this? Yes, okay. So anyways, I still feel that way, but I've gotten used to it, so it's less new, I guess. Okay. This week, Kiddush is, well, it says to sponsor a future Kiddush, so maybe that means this week we don't have a Kiddush sponsor, which has been happening a bit lately, so please do sponsor in the fall if there's lots of dates available for any special occasion or for no reason at all, just because you love the PJC. Adult Ed, Tuesdays, 7:30. Joseph, it's been a great group so far. It's really exciting. It's a really exciting story, genuinely. It's a wonderful story. And I think it's a great group of people learning it. And so please come and join us. It's wonderful. And then women's group is tomorrow after Kiddush. And on Saturday, November 8th, is the Westchester Jewish Council is presenting their Night of Learning annually. It's really wonderful. Every rabbi in Westchester is participating. I have heard that registration is lower than anticipated. So if you want to come to that, please come. There's food and music and really lots of great learning and schmoozing, and it's a nice night. Our next author is coming on Sunday, November 9th at 10 a.m. That's Shira Dicker. She'll be discussing her book at Leonard's of Great Neck, Lolita at Leonard's of Great Neck and Other Stories. And there'll be a breakfast of some kind that morning. And finally, it's Thanksgiving in a box season. As usual, we are trying to donate 75 boxes of food along with all of the other houses of worship. There are empty boxes in the hall if you want to go shop yourself. And there's this flyer about what you need to put in there. And you could deliver them to the Huguenot Church. Or you can call Manor Market and say, I want X number of Thanksgiving in the boxes, and I believe there's $79. And really, it's a wonderful thing, and we raise lots of money every year for this. There will be a Thanksgiving interfaith service as usual. I believe it is at Huguenot this year, and there is a date, but I don't want to get it wrong. So if you want, you'll find out soon. And also, in anticipation of SNAP benefits being discontinued this week, getting a Thanksgiving in a box is a good thing to do. You could also think of donating to Masbia Soup Kitchen in Brooklyn, which is the largest kosher soup kitchen in New York. They serve millions of meals, Jews and non-Jews. And Hope Community Services in Westchester County also have kosher pantries and pantries for everyone. So if SNAP benefits do run out, then it's another thing to be kind of aware of, which I'm sure we all are, but let's try to do our part at the PJC. And that's it. Good Shabbos. We'll conclude with Yigdal on, and maybe the government will reopen, and then, I don't know. I think they're supposed to run out tomorrow, right? Is that when it's supposed to be?
There's a court ruling that prevented them from being.
Oh, really? So that is not happening?
Apparently,
oh.
assuming the court ruling is.
Oh, I didn't see that. Was that this afternoon? No, I didn't see that. All right. Yigdal is on page 53 or 114. Yigdal Elohim chai v'yishtabach nimtza v'einei tel metziuto echad ein yachid ke'yechudo nelam v'gam in sof ve'achduto ein lo demut haguf ein no guf v'lo naroch elav kedushato kadmon echol davar asher nibra rishon v'ein reishi l'reishito no adon olam v'echol no tzari yoreg edulato malchuto shefa nevuato netano el anshe segulato v'tifarto lo kam be'Yisrael kmo sheor navi umabid et munato Torat emet natan lemoel al yanev on beito lo ya khalifa el velo ya mirdato ele olamim lehezulato sofe veodea setarenu mabilis of davar bekadmato gomel chesed gimi palo noten lerasha rak rishato yishlach leketzia mimeshichenu likdor mechake kejuato miktim yechayel berov chasto baruch adei Hashem dilato metim yechayel berov chasto baruch adei Hashem dilato. Shabbos everyone. Where's Barry?
Manning the Halloween, but
Oh,
nobody,
is he?
there's, driving up, I think I passed 200 kids.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
On
It's
this
just
street,
crazy,
it's
don't
amazing.
drive more than 5 miles an hour, but nobody's come to our house.
You have insufficient decoration.
No, we had a parade on Sunday, we had 100 kids or so, so maybe with the weather, it was windy out.
Very dressed
People,
up.
They did enough.
Is he dressed up? Isn't Barry dressed up?
He's dressing back.
He did
I'd like to
not.
see that.
I would too.
Well,
I've seen him dressed up
he's
before.
dressed up.
Alright, well, she mentioned that.
Olivia had her first, Olivia had her first lollipop tonight.
Ooh, that's a milestone.
Did you like it?
Well, when I was FaceTiming, she looked pretty
That's
happy.
good.
You didn't see it, you were.
No, I wasn't.
Virtual
Making
participant.
lasagnas to deliver. You hear about this lasagna love?
No.
It's really hanging with snacks.
Yes, I